Hi guys, Bainesy here. Just going to do a quick video showing you the basics of modding for anyone who's new to Skyrim or new to modding in general on the Xbox. Just a few simple rules that I live by that haven't really steered me wrong. So the first tip is to not use conflicting mods. And by conflicting mods, I mean any mods that pretty much do the same thing. So you can see here that I use Vivid Weather. I've done a video on it. It's one of my favourite weather mods. I think it's really great and like the variety of weather that it gives you. So what I wouldn't do is then go and download like Realistic Weather 2, because they both change the weather and you're most likely going to have something go wrong with your game if you do that. The smallest problems it could cause is graphical glitches, and you can go all the way up to having a completely unstable game to where it crashes or the dreaded corrupted save. You also have to be careful of things like changing what two mods might change the same thing that you wouldn't think they would. So in here it says that it changes the image space. So basically this game changes the lighting. So you wouldn't want to put any other mod on that also changes the lighting, even if it had nothing to do with the weather. Like surreal lighting, it's another video I've covered. They both change the colour of the sky, so you're probably going to have problems there. You do have at the bottom of most mod lists a compatibility list, and as you can see it's compatible with frostfall, wet and cold, and so other. So if it does mention there that, or you can see at the bottom of the line it says it's compatible with true storms, it needs a patch but it is compatible. If it lists it there, it's most likely fine, but if it's not listed there, you want to err on the side of caution and not use that mod if you think it's going to conflict with another mod that you've got. Second tip is you want to stay away from anything that's listed as WIPP, beta, test, anything that makes you think that the mod isn't yet complete. WIPP stands for work in progress, and it basically means that they've got to the point now where they need to test the mod to see if it's going to conflict or cause any game or cause any glitches in the game. So unless you really want to help out that author by testing their mod, you want to stay away from anything like that. They wouldn't Don't necessarily assume that because it's on the mod store that it's stable enough to play. It may not be. So it's just best to stay away from any whips, betas, tests, anything like that at all. Even at the best of times, glitches can still sneak in under the mod or author's radar that they may not have noticed. So the last thing you want to do is go and download a mod that specifically tells you that it's a work in progress. Third one is deleting mods and uninstalling them. You've really got to be careful when you do this. There's a mod here called Falscar, and it says that it adds a new area to the game. So obviously, if I was in that new area and I uninstalled the mod, I'm most likely going to crash my game at that point and corrupt my save, because the Dovahkiin is in a location that no longer exists. So loading the save up can cause a major crash. If you do ever come to a point like this, what you want to do is keep the mod installed and go back to an earlier save. Sometimes just reinstating the mod and going back to your original save can fix it, and sometimes if you were to leave the area that you were in and uninstall the mod, then you may be fine. I've actually used the Forgotten City mod, which adds a new area. All I did was make sure I was out of that area and I uninstalled the mod and everything seemed to be fine. I had quest items in my inventory, they just disappeared, so there was no problem there. But if I was in this area and I uninstalled the mod, that absolutely would have caused a major glitch for the game, probably corrupted the save and crashed the game if it even started up. Another thing I wanted to talk about is load order. I can understand how this can be quite confusing for people like us who haven't really dabbled with mods before and only really getting them through Fallout 4 and Skyrim. I personally don't worry about it too much. Most of the time the mod will actually tell you where it should go. At the bottom of the mod notes, it'll say put at the bottom of the load order or put it at the top of the load order. Most mods though will just automatically put themselves where they think they should be. So the Felscar mod, which I just mentioned, that just went straight to the top of my list because the mod author told it that it should load itself before anything else. But most of the time I just download them, and then, you know, it just goes straight in and seems to be working fine for me so far. So I wouldn't worry about load order too much. You know, always read the mod notes and make sure that you're satisfied with it, that there's no conflicting things in the mod that's gonna mess up your game, or make sure that the mod author has stated if it needs to go in a specific location in the load order that it should go there. And just the last tip that I'm going to give you is to not bombard your game with a whole list of new mods. Always install them one by one and go and test your game out after each mod. This way, if there is a problem, you don't have to worry about finding which mod. You know, if you to install 5 mods at once and you had the frame rate slow down, you know, you're going to have to go in and out of your game every time, disable a mod one by one to find the mod that's caused the issue. So I always recommend to just load a mod, go into your game, test it out, test the specific mod out. So if I was to download like this Project Hippie, I would load that mod and then I would go to the locations that it states and I would test it out before I put any other mods on. One of my main tips is I always do duplicate saves, so I'll save in a location and then I'll do another save in that same location, and I'll load the game up with the new mod with that new save. So if there is a problem, I can back out, I can delete the mod, and I can go to the previous save, which will be unaffected because it wasn't loaded up with that mod. Sometimes just loading a game up with a mod enabled doesn't necessarily mean that your save is going to be safe if you go back and delete the mod, even if you don't save while the mod is on. I had a problem with the hypothermia mod in which I uninstalled it and it corrupted my save. Well, it let me load the save, but whenever I tried to save it would completely crash it back to the dashboard. So that was a game breaking bug for me. I had to go back to completely new game because I installed the mod before I played the game, started the game, and so the whole of the game was corrupted because that mod was present throughout all of the gameplay. Whereas I like to be able to go back to a save where the mod wasn't loaded up. It just makes it so much easier in case you do encounter a problem. A game like Skyrim is you can put hundreds, even thousands of hours into, and you don't necessarily want to lose all that progress just because you made a silly mistake with a mod. So that's just my few basic tips for new modders out there who may be concerned about jumping into the mod because they feel like it's overwhelming or they don't understand how it works. It really is as simple as just following those few basic rules. So I hope this has helped you out, and thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.